To start. To the Divine Supreme and Absolute God, to my spiritual teacher, all spiritual teachers, holy angels, holy masters, to all the saints, and to all the great ones, we humbly invoke for your divine guidance, for your divine love, for your illumination, divine oneness, divine help, and divine protection. For the priceless teachings, priceless knowledge, and understanding, and learning, we humbly thank you. For higher spiritual progress and higher spiritual evolution, we humbly thank you. Thank you in full faith. Thank you. Okay, great. Welcome. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for coming. We're gonna do a special today. We're generally doing the Spiritual Essence of Man, the book, but today we're gonna ponder on this. We're gonna cover this book later on. We're not today. Today we're doing it. We're not later on. I'm not gonna continue with this book. We're just using this book for the Wesak Festival. There is a Wesak Festival special. The Wesak Festival just happened this Saturday, right? When the moon was full moon of Taurus. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Wesak Festival today. And just in honor of that very important time of the year. So in the ponder of this book is a compilation of many different works from Alice Bailey. She was a writer back in the day, like a theosophist, and she channeled, Master Tuanku. Master Tuanku, also known as the Tibetan, gave a lot of instruction through Alice Bailey, and so her books come from that knowledge, from Master Tuanku, also known as Master DK. And so this book, Pondering This, is a compilation of many different works. And so it's like an A through Z of different things, many different topics that are very interesting to people. It's a very good book. I recommend it. As you can see, it's a little battered up, but it's still, holding its own. You gotta go all the way. It's a W. The Wesak Festival is with a W, so it's at the end of the book, right? But the Wesak Festival. What is the Wesak Festival? It is said that the Wesak Festival is the day of the year with the most energy, and it's the full moon of Taurus. So generally, the full moon, right, is the full moon is the most day out of the month. Every month there is a day that has the most energy of that month, and that day is on the day of the full moon of that month, right? Now, why? The question is why. So I believe we spoke about this in the full moon before, right? So you've seen that many traditions talk about the full moon, and the full moon they do like different ceremonies or rituals or get-togethers or meditations, things like that during the full moon. The question is why? Because there's lots and lots of energy, but the energy is not from the moon. It's just that the full moon is like a marker, right? It's like the bat signal to do service, right? So it is a marker. It's just a symbol so people know. But to the people that do not know, they associate it with the moon. So they believe, the power comes from the moon, or etc. But in reality, the power comes from the sun. So why? But why is the moon full? Because there's a straight shot from the sun to the earth. Right, so the moon is clear. It's not in the way of all those of the energy coming from the sun into the earth. So you have lots and lots of energy. There's more energy in those days. Now, and that's why you can see the moon that is full. So what happens is that in those days, that's why you see that people sometimes get a little angry, or they can be in the road, there are accidents, and there's all these things going on. People are a little bit on edge, and people say that they're like lunatics. Have you hear that word lunatic, right? So it's like a crazy person. So lunatic has to do with Luna, with the moon, right? And that's what they're talking about. So, or in the full moon is all the crazies come out, and you have all these things happening. And the thing is that there's more energy coming in, but energy is it doesn't differentiate, it doesn't discriminate. So the energy energizes whatever is there. So if you're already stressed, then the energy will increase that stress, right? So it will maximize it. It will make it more of whatever you are feeling or whatever you're doing. So if you are actually in a state of meditation, or if you're in a positive state, it will increase that positive state. If you're in a negative state, it will increase that negative state. Because it's like fertilizer. So whatever is there, it will fertilize. Okay? So it is very important in those days to have a good attitude. And sometimes it's difficult because, we have a lot of things going on, and maybe it's a very stressful day, and other people make it also very stressful because they're connected to, most people are not aware, and right, and so they're connected to, a stressful moment. And so it is very important in those days to keep yourself as positive as possible, as calm as possible, because then that will be maximized, right? So they're great days to do meditation. They're great days to work. That's why there's so many spiritual groups doing work on those days. And so that's why people get together to do meditations for service, world service. So like Twin Hearts meditation, the Great Invocation, right? All these things are actually very positive. And they get together, they bless the earth with blessings of goodwill, of love, of loving kindness, of generosity, of spirituality, of prosperity, abundance, right? Illumination, goodwill, the will to do good. So these are very, when you are wishing that, when you are actually blessing the earth with these positive attributes, they're maximized. So you're using the energy in the best possible way. Yes.
So some people use the full moon to let go of things that no longer serves them, and new moons to set intentions or set intentions. How does that relate to what you just said?
The energy? Okay, so yes, I don't know about letting go. I mean, you can do this practice, right? And that's fine. Especially in new moon, yes, there is energy for starting a new things. And the energy is very good for that. But speaking about the full moon, when you have that much energy, and it's neither good nor bad, it's just energy, right? It doesn't discriminate. And in that moment, it is, rather than, we can use it for letting go of all things and all of that, but if we use it for service, it's even greater. Because if you're not paying attention, if you're not giving attention to those things that you want to let go, then you're not energized. Anything that you think of, you're energizing it, no matter what it is.
That's interesting.
So anything that you think about, you give it energy because you're giving it attention. Attention automatically energizes something because you're using energy to think about that. And you're using energy to form it better in your head. Understand? So when you think of something, so you guys want to do an experiment real quick? Yeah? Okay. Think about, let's just say this. Think about those coin operating machines full of bubble gums, that round bubble gums, right?
Gumball machine.
The gumball machine, thank you. So think about a gumball machine, big gumball machine, huge. You have lots of balls there of different colors, right? Now think about a car. And in this car, okay, so what happened to the gumball machine? It's gone, right? So it went away. Can you tell me the texture and the, how many blues and how many yellows and how many whatever? No. Because you're probably not, maybe some people can, but most likely not, because you didn't pay that much attention. There was not that much energy that you invested in that. You understand? But if you think about, let's just say a blue ball, and that blue ball, you give it texture, maybe it's metallic, maybe it's rubber, maybe it's whatever, but it's blue. It's very indigo blue. It's beautiful. And it's brilliant. Right? And so maybe it has whatever texture you want to give it. It has whatever density you want to give it. It has the size that you want to give it. So think about that. And then once you have that, can you describe it? You understand? Can you really talk to me about that blue ball that you have in your head? Yes? So that's the difference. You understand? You gave it more energy, you gave it more thought. Imagine those things that you think about every day. We have recurring thoughts. Some positive, some not so positive. So these thoughts that are recurring, we give a lot of energy to. And so that is the danger. And sometimes these thoughts are criticisms to other people. And that's why it is said that whatever you think of, you meditate upon. And whatever you think of regularly, you meditate upon. And whatever you meditate upon, you become. So by you criticizing other people, you, in the end, are giving that so much energy that you end, if it's the same criticism over and over again, you end up becoming that. So that is a danger. So it's best not to criticize anyone. Right? So, but having said that, if we do service, let's say that's why in those days, let's say that there's meditations for service all around the world. And, we, in those meditations like Twin Hearts, we're blessing the earth and all the beings within it with divine light, love, mercy, compassion, illumination, goodwill, forgiveness. When you're focusing on this type of thoughts, energies, right, and blessings, they first, you're thinking about this, they first come through you, these blessings come through you, and then you share them with the entire earth. So you're already experiencing these beautiful energies, and by the nature of the greater amount of energy of that day, right, they're magnified in you. So automatically, right, whatever you want to let go is generally negative in nature. So just by doing this, you're maximizing the positive, right, overshadowing the negative. That's where it's having more energy. It's like the negative or all these other things are like the gumball machine that you're not giving attention to. And so by helping others, you already are being helped as well. So I would say, the energy is there. You can do whatever you want with that energy, good or not so good. But it's best to use the energy properly and accordingly and not give energy to things that might not be so good. And in that way, you help everyone else, you help the world. Because by you thinking positively, you emanate that positivity. And that also affects other people, just like the stress of other people affects others as well. So it is important in those days that we become, those beacons of light, and we do the best that we can. Sometimes it's not going to happen, we're in the human experience, right? So, but we do the best that we can. So the Wesak Festival. Why is the Wesak Festival important? The Wesak Festival is the full moon of Taurus, which just happened. And it is the day of the year with the most energy. This is the full moon. There are 3 full moons that have the most energy out of the year, right? The one before the Wesak Festival, right? The Wesak full moon, and the full moon of goodwill, or of the Christ, which is the one that comes after. The next full moon, will be the full moon of the Christ or of goodwill. That one has lots and lots of energy as well. So but the one with the most energy is the Wesak Full Moon.
What's the one before it called?
I don't remember.
The Memorial Day one, right? The one that they use like before Easter and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the thing. So the full moon, how it works. In the full moon, it's really the moon is only full for around a second or two, right? Because it's at its zenith that we in relation to us, right? That we see it full, and so that full moon is constantly moving. So for about a second or two, the moon is 100% full. Then it'll go down to 99 point whatever 9999998 97, and then it keeps moving. So, but in reality, the energy starts rising the day before of the full moon. The day of the full moon is at its peak, and then it starts going down the day after. So the full moon is generally three days. You can count the other days, like today and the days before, because it's a gradual increasing of the energy, peaking in the day off, and then gradually going down again. So there's still, even today, there's still lots of energy, even though if it was Saturday at 5 here in this time zone. So, we still have a lot of energy today. And if you notice, it is the same with the full moon of Taurus. It's the one with the most energy, and then the moons before and after is the same. The energy peaks, then the energy starts going down. Clear? So, what is important about the Wesak festival? It's also Wesak festival is also the birth of the Lord Buddha. That is also celebrated on that day. So it is said that Lord Buddha was born in the full moon of Taurus, right? So I'm going to use this to read a little bit about it, and then we can talk about this, okay? So it says here, the Wesak festival has been held down the centuries in the well-known valley in the Himalayas, if the faithful will only believe it, in order to substantiate the fact of the Christ's physical existence among us ever since his so-called departure. 2. To prove on the physical plane the factual solidarity of the Eastern and Western approaches to God. Both the Christ and the Buddha are present. 3. To form a rallying point and meeting place for those who annually, in synthesis and symbolically, link up and represent the Father's house, the kingdom of God and humanity. 4. To demonstrate the nature of the work of Christ as the great and chosen intermediary, standing as the representative of the spiritual hierarchy and as the leader of the new group of world servers. In his person, he voices their demand for the recognition of the factual existence of the kingdom of God here and now. Perhaps one of the major messages for all of us who read these words in this great truth and fact of the physical presence on earth at this time of the Christ, of his group of disciples and executives of their representative activities on behalf of mankind and of their close relationship. Okay, so what was all that? So if it's the birthday of the Buddha, what does Christ have to do with that, with the Wesak festival? So what the legend says is that, or the story, as it is said, is that there's a valley in the Himalaya mountains that is called the Wesak Valley. And so there, in that place, it is said that the Lord Buddha comes down. It is that the Lord Buddha came from another, solar system. As a soul, he came from another solar system to help in the evolution, spiritual evolution of humanity and other beings in this planet. And so, obviously, his soul incarnated Siddhartha, and he became, Buddha Shakyamuni, he became the Buddha, right? 500 BC. So, but it is said that the Lord Buddha already comes back once a year, during the Wesak Full Moon. He comes once a year, and there meets with the Christ in physical form. Now you have to understand, when it says physical form, that they're physically. There are many levels of physical plane, of what physical is. So you have the lower physical. When we talk about the different planes, and we have spoken about this before, right? You have the physical plane, you have the astral plane, the mental plane, and other spiritual planes. Yes. Now you also heard of the etheric body, right? We spoke about the etheric double, or etheric plane. That is actually part of the physical plane. So you have the higher physical and a lower physical. So you have the etheric body, which is the higher physical, right? Which is the little, aura that you see around the people, right? And then you have the dense physical, or the lower physical, which is the dense physical body. You also have like a lower astral plane and higher astral plane, which corresponds to the lower astral body and the higher astral body, right? Or the center of lower emotions and the center of higher emotions. We said a few weeks past, right? We read about the heart chakra, right, or Chesit, in the spiritual essence of man, and that corresponds to that is a center for the higher emotions, right? Love, compassion, goodwill, loving kindness, mercy, forgiveness. And then you have the center of the lower emotions, which we were reading a couple of weeks ago, right? Which is Javura, the solar plexus chakra, and that is the center for lower emotions, right? Justice, strength, right? And courage. All these things are lower emotions. They're still positive, but they're lower. They're of a denser faculty. So the same happens with the physical body. You have the dense physical body, and then you have the etheric physical body. But when sometimes they say physical, especially here, you don't know what they mean, right? In this case, they talk about the etheric body, but just in etheric form. That still is physical. It has form. So in this case, so the Lord Buddha comes down and meets with the Lord Christ, and in this meeting, which lasts like a second, right, or two, there is the entire plan for the year is given. That's why it says here as the Christ as the representative. So it says here, why does this happen? So it gives you like 4 main points. So the Wesak festival has been held down for centuries. Why has it been held down? It's for these 4 points. Number 1, to substantiate the fact of the Christ's physical existence among us. So you have the physical existence of the Christ, meaning that is there. Again, we're talking about the etheric body, right? Number 2, to prove on the physical plane the factual solidarity of the Eastern and Western approaches to God. Because both the Christ and the Buddha are present. That is that whole plan for the year, right? It's given. The Lord Christ receives it and then disseminates it among the world servers and the different officers, right, of the hierarchy, and is distributed accordingly. And then you have number 3, to form a rallying point on a meeting place for those who annually, in synthesis and symbolically. What does that mean? Link up and represent the Father's house. So thousands and thousands of people meet up. But what does that mean, meet up? Do they go to the Wesak Valley? Yes, there's lots of people that go to the Wesak Valley, especially to celebrate Lord Buddha's birthday, right? But also at the same time, there's a lot of groups that go there. They do the meditation, that whole thing, because the energy is being given down. This whole plan for the year is being given down and is being disseminated There's at what time? When the moon is at its fullest point, where there is the most energy. All of this is being given. Boom. And but do you think this message at a higher level, you have to understand their spiritual technology. What do I mean by spiritual technology? When a message is being done, when work is being handed down and said, this is the plan for the year, right? Let's get it done. But it's not just being given. It also comes with a blessing. You understand? It comes with a blessing. So it's already infused with energy. For what reason? So that it can be helped for it to manifest. But this energy is very, very great. It's very, very what? Great. And what do I mean by great? That it is given to the person that is given for a reason. And it is given by the person that is given for a reason. These great beings can handle lots and lots of energy. And for a plan, for a whole year, for countless beings and their spiritual progress, it's a great, great plan. Therefore, you have to understand that this plan is not only given, it's not only instructions, it's also blessings of, energy of very, very high, let's just say voltage, for lack of a better term, right? And it's being handed down to a person that can withstand that being that can withstand that amount of force, and transform it down so it can be then passed down to others that may not have that development to be able to withstand that amount of force. So, as a representative of humanity, the Lord Christ transforms it down so it can be disseminated, but still in a great, great power. So as it's being going down, it is disseminated to them, the great masters and great teachers, and like that, and down to their groups, even to them, their senior disciples, and then their other higher disciples, and like that, until the junior ones, and then the more the younger ones, like that. Why? Because, and then those to their community, right? So it is like a stepping down of this, but even though when it gets even to their community level, it's still lots and lots, it's very powerful. So it happens across the entire earth. That's why there are groups. So we were meditating here. There are people in New York, in California, in most states, people in all over the world, all of South America and Central America, people in Europe, in Australia, all thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hundreds of thousands of people or more, millions of people meditating at the same time at the zenith of the full moon. It's different in different places. Here was at 5, in other places was at 1, and like that. Others at 3 and 4 and whatever. In different places was different. Different time, but they're all together. Can you imagine all these people meditating together? It's beautiful. For what? To help the world, to do service. So, but it is like that. Then, to form a rallying point and a meeting place for those who annually. So that's what it means in synthesis and symbolically. What it means is that not everybody goes to the Wesak festival. But we all go to the Wesak festival, right? So we don't go maybe in the physical body, but once we're meditating, we'll link up and meet there. And meet doesn't have to be there, but we're all that's in the earth. We're all participating. So and then they say it represents the Father's house, the kingdom of God and humanity. That is just a symbol, of. Figure of speech from the Bible. Now then it says in number 4, one of the reasons of the reasons for the Wesak festival is to demonstrate the nature of the work of Christ. what is the work of Christ? What is the nature of the work? As the great and chosen intermediary, that's what I was saying, he's an intermediary for humanity, standing as a representative for the spiritual hierarchy, and as the leader of the new group of world servers. New group of world servers is a term that they use, right? The school from Alice Bailey is called the Arcane School, right? They call it the Arcane School. So in the Arcane School, they have a term called New Group of World Servers. And it's, this, it was back then when they started, right? A new group, the 40s, a new group of people, to serve. That they wanted to serve and do service via meditation or actions, etc., etc. So that's what they call.
Light workers.
Yeah, light workers, whatever you want to.
Whatever.
Yes, nowadays they call it that. Yes. I like this name because it tells you exactly what they are and what they do. So, what do you guys do? We're the new group of world service. And what do you guys do? Service for the world. And
we're new.
And we're new, exactly. We're doing it. So then it's pretty good. It's like there is this, there are many countless stories that have been passed down in the native tradition, from in the Native American tradition, and one of them I remember hearing one, and it was and there was this monster, and it was a giant monster, right? And so and he was pretty ugly, and the name for this monster, there was a name for the monster, in that tongue for that native nation. But when you when you asked what it meant, it was big, bad, ugly monster. So that was the name of it. It was big, bad, ugly monster. And then it was pretty funny because, you know exactly what it does. You know what it is. It's a big, bad, ugly monster. So this is what this is. Because light workers really doesn't tell me much. We all know what it is, but you work with light, and you're an electrician. Like kind of, yeah. But new group of world servers, exactly what it is. What it is. So so that. Then they continue. So that's something that was in one book. Now then they have another section. There was another book, and then another section for the Wesak Festival that was in another book. So I'm going to read the second part. This year, 1946, marks the beginning of a cycle in which humanity is more closely involved in the festivals than ever before, and in which they can take a much more important part than ever before. The Wesak Festival has long been kept in many countries, and as time goes on and the instruction of the masses proceeds, the meeting held at the time of the May full moon will assume great importance, but its keynote will be changed. What the new keynote will be has not yet been announced and will not be for 35 years, which has already passed. As I earlier pointed out, its significance and that of Good Friday belong to the past, and their usefulness is nearly finished. It is the intention of the Buddha and the Christ that in each country there should eventually be someone who will act as the representative at the time of the two festivals, so that the distribution of spiritual energy from the first great aspect or ray will be direct from the Buddha and later Shambhala to the Christ, and then from the Christ to those disciples in every country who can be overshadowed and so act as channels for the direct current of energy. The same procedure will be followed at the time of the full moon of June, except that Shambhala will not be so involved, and with the difference that as at the May festival it will be the first ray disciple will be overshadowed, and at the June festival, a second ray disciple will be present. Will represent the Christ in every land. This can mean either the soul or the personality ray of the disciple. So there's a lot here.
Yeah, I have questions.
So let's see what I can cover. Okay. You guys understood the representative part because you understand how the energy steps down, right? And that's why I said that before, so you could understand this. But so Shambhala. What is Shambhala?
Yes, I was going to ask that.
Right? If I had time, I would probably go to Shambhala and read it here, right? But it is mainly, there is a planetary hierarchy. So we're in this planet all together, right? Traveling through space. This big ship is traveling through space. And so, so there is a planetary hierarchy. In this world, there are countless of beings. Countless of beings. Not only human beings, but there's also animals, there's also minerals, there are also plants, and there are also incorporeal beings. What type of beings? Incorporeal beings. And these beings live in different dimensions, right? Within our same world. What do I mean the different dimensions? Well, as we said that we have a physical body, we have an etheric body, and an astral body or an emotional body, a mental body that we spoke about before. And all these bodies make up our aura, right? They end up looking like an egg, like an egg that is with the point facing downward, right? And so, like the Columbus egg, I know, I'm just doing that on purpose. So, Columbus egg, Columbus said that he would stand an egg on its tip, right? And people never believed that he would do it. So, and he did. Anyways, one day we'll know how. But anyway, so it's like it looks like an egg, right, upside down. And so, it's like spherical. And that's our aura, right? And so the aura is made of different layers, and these layers being the different bodies. So you have the physical body, then the emotional body, and the mental body, and you have other spiritual bodies. So all these bodies, right, the astral body is so that you can interact in the astral plane or the emotional plane. The mental body so that you can interact with the mental plane, and it's mental matter. There is a world full of mental matter with beings made of mental matter. And the same happens with the astral plane or the emotional, same as the emotional plane. The plane is, it's a dimension where there is astral or emotional matter with beings made of, with bodies of, just like you have an emotional body made of emotional matter. And you use it to interact with that world made of emotional matter. The same thing, you have a physical body, right, made of physical matter to interact with this plane made of physical matter. So that you can grab this book made of physical matter with my body of physical matter, and I can interact. Same thing happens with and then we created our own world, which is let's just say like the internet. It's like the cyber world or the virtual world. And this world, you can only go into the internet if you have what? a phone or a device or a computer or a tablet that allows you to, right, connect to the internet. You can't think and say, oh, I'm connecting to the internet. Google,
Not yet.
hello?
Not yet.
Not yet. No, I mean, no, yet, yes, you can. If you have there is already a lobe, an extra lobe that you can attach to your brain.
You need the software.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always.
But if it can be done. It's already people doing this, right? You have access, and then you can think and all this stuff, and you can interact. It's all good. It can be done. I mean, it's not in the public, but it has, it's out there. But what I'm trying to say is but that is still a device. What I mean is that you need a device. You understand? Can you, well, maybe with your mental, you are this amazing person that can access 100% of the brain, and you can then I'm sure you can browse the internet, right? But generally speaking, right now, without super mental powers, you need a device. You need a computer, you need a phone, you need something to interact with the internet. And why do you need these devices? So that you can interact, so you can click, so that you can do stuff. Have you guys used at some point you're using the mouse on the computer, and then the mouse stops working, and you start trying to go like this, and you look like an idiot, and it doesn't work, and you go click, 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 and nothing is happening. So you need things to be working. You need a device to be able to access this, right? And to interact with that world. The same thing happens for the physical body, your emotion, your aura, which is many layered, right? And you have so that you can interact. You have all these bodies to interact. But we are not these bodies. These are just vehicles so that we can interact with these worlds. So we learn what we need to learn as a soul. There are lessons in all these worlds. That's why when we go to sleep, it is said, right, that we go into the astral world, into the astral plane. And how do we do that? Well, the soul transfers itself, leaves a very small portion of itself, as we read in the book, right? So that the bodily functions can continue working, and it transfers most of itself into the astral body, and then it takes off into the astral plane, travels in the astral plane. That's the whole point about the whole silver thread.
There's a gold
silver
one,
cord.
right? As well.
Is there? It's very interesting.
That's something like that. But there's like a hidden gold one.
Hidden gold one. Wow, that's
Yeah.
very interesting.
You should never pull from it or never let it go.
Yes, there is a silver thread. Okay. So, so Shambhala. All of this is to talk about Shambhala, right? So the incorporeal beings, right, also live. There are many, many incorporeal beings, and they live in different dimensions, just like we just spoke about different dimensions just now. And we also have bodies to interact with these dimensions. And so these beings have bodies of whatever matter they are in that dimension, right? In this planet. So, and there are many more incorporeal beings than there are corporeal ones. And it is said that this planet was made specifically for the evolution of these beings. But because it was apt for also another evolution, which is the corporeal evolution, then it was also done as a secondary measure. Because, waste not, right? If you can do it, why not?
It's all about multitasking.
Yes, it's all about multitasking. And the great ones, right, are very good at multitasking. They use everything possible to do the work. So so Shambhala, it is the planetary hierarchy, right? It basically refers to there's a hierarchy for this planet, right? A spiritual hierarchy for this planet that oversee the evolution of all beings. So when I say all beings, now you understand that I mean all beings. The corporeal, the incorporeal, and in many different kingdoms of nature, etc. Not only us. Because all beings have life, have souls, and all these things. So, they're all, being cared for. And so, so the planetary hierarchy is there to help on the, they're like the caretakers of all these beings that live in this planet. And so Shambhala was like the abode of the planetary hierarchy. Also known, the planetary hierarchy, you may also know them, there's a term for them also known as the White Brotherhood. So when people, they say that term, the White Brotherhood, is really they're talking about the hierarchy. It has nothing to do with anything else. They mean, why do they call them, where the white relates to is, you may have white or black magic, one is good, one is bad. So one has a positive connotation, one a negative connotation. So then that's what they mean. They mean white brotherhood as the good, brotherhood of goodness or of white magic or good or goodness. That's why they do that. So so Shambhala is the abode of the planetary hierarchy. That's in a nutshell. I just had to talk about the different things before. We can read more about Shambhala another day, right? So, and then it says that the same procedure will be followed at the time of the full moon of June, except that Shambhala will not be so involved, and with difference that at the May festival, it says it may not be so involved, but it will definitely be involved. It said it's involved, but not as much as in the May one. And with the difference that the May festival, it will be a first ray disciple. What is a first ray? The ray of willpower, right? It's okay,
Yeah.
So the ray of willpower. So it's more about will, right? It's ray 1. It's more about will. And then the other one is more ray 2, which is ray of love. So in the June, that's why they call it the moon, the full moon of the Christ, or the full moon of goodwill, because it's more about love and loving kindness. This is about the plan. So Wesak Festival, yes, we do bless with love and all these things, but it's about the plan for that day. And this is like, okay, this is with the blessing. And what is the blessing? The will to do, right? And and so then is and what is this will to do? It's blessing for goodwill, right? So it's
The one before
starts
May
going.
is retreat.
That's a good question. But we will cover it at another time. We're running out of time as it is. So yes, but then they call them festivals. That was the other thing I was going to say, which is cool, because why is it a festival? Because it is a festive time. People, it's a rejoicing time, because there's lots of service being done. There's a lot of blessings being done. There's all this goodness that is actually being
Grateful for.
Yeah, things to
And
be grateful for.
celebrate.
That is, people are being blessing with all these things. You understand? So, and the whole, a big part of humanity gets together to do this work. It's a beautiful time. So, and then the last part is the one that is always used probably to explain the import of these activities, of these festivals. And it is this. No cost is too great to pay in order to be of use to the hierarchy at the time of the full moon of May, the Wesak festival. No price is too high in order to gain the spiritual illumination which can be possible, particularly at that time. No cost is too great to pay in order to be of use to the hierarchy at the time. There's no cost. No cost is too great to pay in order to be of use to the hierarchy. Period. But especially at the time of the full moon of May, the Wesak festival. And then it says, no price is too high in order to gain the spiritual illumination which can be possible, particularly at that time. That's all it says about the Wesak festival. The question is why? Do you understand the hierarchy? For there to be a planetary hierarchy, and all planets have a planetary hierarchy of their own, because all planets are there for the evolution of life, whether we see it or not. There are beings there, and they're evolving. But you have to understand, if there's a planetary hierarchy, these beings have to be great. Super, super great. Because they have the whole responsibility of the evolution of the spiritual evolution of many countless souls. And to be of use to that work, it's priceless. Even if it's once in your life, it's priceless. Because you are actually part of something much, much greater than yourself. You're helping basically in God's work, in the evolution of countless beings. There's no greater work. So to be of use to this divine hierarchy is super special. But then it says to be of use of the hierarchy during the Wesak festival, the May full moon, is even greater. Why? Because there's so much energy. Why? Because the Lord Buddha is coming. Meeting with the Lord Christ. I mean, there's just all these energies coming down. It's the full moon, the solar logos, everything is aligned and it's happening. There's so much energy, it's so great. And that's why at that time it's so auspicious, so easy in this, surrounded by these great beings, when you're being of use to the hierarchy as an anchor point of these energies. Why is it that we're needed? Because since you have a physical body, you're physicalizing the energies into the world. You have your use as an anchoring, physicalization, helper to physicalize these energies, to bring them about, to help in the manifestation of these. And also, it helps you evolve, and you help others as well evolve. Just like a win-win-win, infinitum situation. So, no price is too great. No cost is too high for enlightenment, for spiritual enlightenment, and so it's so auspicious, surrounded by so many great beings. Why do the great beings matter if you're around them or not? Because everything, the aura is so huge, and what you can do within you already have, just by being in the aura, you grow, you're lifted up, because they're of a higher vibration, and it makes other things vibrate at a higher vibration. And so when you connect to that, you're already vibrating higher. What did I say when we were meditating, right? It's so easy to connect. It's so easy to just be there. Did you have the same experience?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's ripe. The moment is ripe for that. Especially when you're connecting to all, to this whole festival, these great beings, all these groups that are doing all this work. It's a network of new group of new world servers, right? So it is. So I think that, or maybe of group world service. I don't know if there's that new anymore, but yes.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say relatively, maybe in relation to other groups. But that's that. And I'm just trying to drive home the importance of this. But even if you're used to the hierarchy in any way, I mean, that is already incredibly great. There's nothing greater. Because you're basically doing the work of the Divine Supreme Being at this level. The work of the Divine Supreme Being is its own, right? And it's greater than we can even imagine, at levels we may not even comprehend. That we do not even comprehend. And then also to places where we can at least be of some sort of help all the way down here. So to be of service to that is, to be part of that work, God's work, and at the same time, is because God is its work and its work is God, right? So to be part of that is very special. So in any case, the Wesak Festival is a very important time of the year. It's very special. And today, it was the meditation that we did earlier. It was in honor of that, and we still have the energies. So that's good that we can use them also to bless. And for those that couldn't make it, the meditation, you can meditate today and every day, but take advantage of this energy. Bless your projects, right? If you have projects, bless them so that you can they can have more energy to materialize. Bless your loved ones, your family. Very special. Okay, so shall we? You guys have any questions before we close? You have countless questions? You can have one question.
No, just other topics.
Oh, in general. About the topic. I mean about the topic.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And shall we? To the Divine Supreme and Absolute God, to my spiritual teacher, all spiritual teachers, holy angels, holy masters, to all the divine hierarchy, and to all the saints, We humbly thank you for your divine and priceless blessings. Thank you for your divine light, love, and mercy, for the divine compassion, harmony, and divine peace. Thank you for the priceless blessings of love, light, and wisdom, oneness, spirituality, prosperity, abundance, and loving kindness, of generosity, forgiveness, and spirituality. Thank you for the priceless blessings, for the divine help and protection, for the divine guidance and divine illumination. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the teachings, the blessings, and the priceless knowledge and understanding. With thanks and in full faith, so be it, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you, in full faith, thank you. Amma Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for coming. And see you guys next Monday.